All right, let's get started. We will see if someone joins this class. Now I'm sharing the screen. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, good friends. Welcome to Certs. Hi, my name is Alicia B. I am an agile coach during the week, and on the weekends, I like to help other people pivot into technology roles. A great way to do that is to get a cert and change your resume up a little bit and start applying for different roles to see what happens. So let's get into it. All right, my mission statement. I really want to help women switch careers and begin a new role in technology. It was very helpful for me when my kids are younger. Now my kids are in college and I still have that flexibility where I'm pretty much working from home and I'm able to take blocks of time to focus on work and then maybe blocks of time to do other things like take a long walk, cook a lunch from scratch, get dinner prepped, and then jump back and do work, another block of the work later in the day. I specialize in the agile space. That's where I have most of my experience, about 15 years experience in agile. So I want to talk a little bit about the gender pay gap and pay equity. For every $100 a woman makes, a man is making $258. Pretty much we do a lot of unpaid labor, childcare, running errands for the older family members that we have. And I think a tech career can offer you some flexibility where you can still do some of those things in your schedule and I have a career as well. I actually took about a 10-year break from working and I went and got a cert. I did project management was my first cert and I started applying for project manager roles in order to get back into the job force. And once I got back in, I just focused on agile roles and I was able to move up continuously and I still had some flexibility to basically leave work at 3, go pick up my kids, run a few errands, and either go back to work and log in or go home and log in the evening to finish off my workday. Some powerful paths to level women up. I think that women can switch into technology. They just need a little bit of help, a little bit of guidance, some boot camps, and some direction. So the first thing is exposure. Hearing and understanding different technical terms, engaging with other people in the community, coming to meetup classes like this is great exposure. Career advice, try to find a mentor. The mentor could be someone at your current job, or it could be someone that you met through a meetup event or an organization. And then tech skills, go to boot camps, webinars. YouTube University is amazing. You can type in how to prepare for a Scrum Master interview, including the questions, and videos are just going to pop up. So make sure you do a lot of research to help guide your career. And then getting into digital acumen. So digital acumen means practicing what you're actually doing. Attend free events. Some of the websites like for ADO, Azure DevOps, you can create a login and they'll give you kind of like a playscape where you can practice some things that you've learned in those YouTube videos. And once you practice for a bit, I would actually go to your resume and you can have entry level ADO skills or basic level Jira, basic level DevOps. As long as you've done it a few times, you watched a few videos and you actually tried it like on their website, that's basic level. And then a little bit about myself. This is my daughter. She is now a college sophomore. And then my shorter son is actually the oldest. He's a college junior. And then my baby son will be a freshman. And then this is me. I like anime and comics. So I'm posing with some Ghostbusters. And then this is the author that I met at a conference. And I also like to cook. Um, I try to eat vegan meals a couple times a week. So I made a salsa out of tomatillos, which are like little green tomatoes. And I also made this pita bread from scratch. I think I have some more, some more cooking. And this picture is from a trip I took to Miami. I love this cafe. It was right next to the hotel. I think I ate at this cafe like 6 times in a week. And then the birds would come, not annoying birds, nice, cute birds, and we would feed them rice. And I also like to dress up for Halloween. This is my costume as Sandy Cheeks. And you could see it was pandemic era. So I had my little face mask. And then here's some background. These are some of the roles that I've held. My current role right now is Agile Transformation Consultant. So basically, I work with different companies, and depending where they are on their journey, I give them tips and tricks and work with them to help them get farther along. And these are some of the roles that I've held in the past, along with my certifications. Pretty much once you're in technology, you're always learning, always learning. You also have to set a block of time aside to keep your learning up, to figure out what your next cert is, your next move. Basically, if you have certain certs, you kind of like redo them every 2 years to make sure they're fresh. All right, so today I want to talk about 4 roles and then the certs that go with each role. And these are the roles that I recommend for people who are transitioning into technology from other industries or from the business. When I say the business, I pretty much mean if, like, let's say you're in the mortgage industry and you were an underwriter, or you were one of the people that are on the phone and you pre-qualified people, you have business knowledge of business processes. This business analyst role, this is someone that takes that business knowledge, mixes it in with what the requirements are for the code, and writes something called a story. So a story is pretty much directions for the engineer to go do whatever it is that they need to do. So if you have that business knowledge, you can absolutely use that to transition into this business analyst role. All right, first up, project manager. A project manager deals with timelines, budgets, blockers. This is someone who basically is going to meetings, taking notes, and they spend a lot of time updating spreadsheets. This is also another entry-level position. You don't have to have business background to do this position. Pretty much, you just have to know how to use this tool. It could be Microsoft Project or some other tool. Generally, in the job description, the company will tell you which tools that they use. If you know how to use the tool, you have a project management certification, you just apply. A lot of companies will do a junior role because they're looking for people that at least have the interest or the curiosity. The rest is really on the job training. So here are some of the certs for project management. I actually have this one, the one at the top from PMI. I love this cert. It was very expensive. I do have to recertify every 3 years, but they always have something for me to take to recertify. So probably 3-4 times a year, they'll have a virtual conference. I think I probably pay maybe $200-300 to attend the conference. You attend the conference, you look at all the videos, and then they automatically record it, send it over to PMI, and then PMI will track all the videos that you've done, which makes it easy to keep your certification up to date. In addition to taking those types of classes, I think I pay maybe $100 every year in order to keep the certification. Yeah, it's a moneymaker, but I need it on my resume. So this is one that I took, I would say it's probably almost been like maybe 12, 13 years ago, and I still keep this one up to date. And then here are some other ones. So basically the organization is on the left, and then the name of the cert is on the right. They vary in testing style. Most of the content is about the same, and then the price is about the same. It's more of visit these websites, whichever one appeals to you, go ahead, take it, throw it on your resume. Next up is business analyst. I have about 9 years being a business analyst. This was a really good role for me. It's where I learned how to teach myself technology, how to bribe the developers to help me understand what it is they're doing. And when I mean bribe, I mean like actual bribe. King size Snickers, Tim Hortons cards, Starbucks cards. Hey, can you sit down and help me understand what this technology is? Can you write this SQL query for me? And then I would save the SQL queries on what work I needed to use them for. Like if I had to do research on a particular subject, I would just save the queries that they wrote, run them. It was super easy for me. So here's an example of what a business analyst does. They basically are writing stories, gathering data, they're building relationships, and they're working on the backlog. So this is an example of a report. I got an email. They're like, AJ, my report is broken. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean by broken? Can you give me an example? Can you send me the report? What are you expecting? So for this one, it's one team, and then they have a team member who has the same first name, middle name, and last name. And what was happening is the report wasn't working correctly because the report was using this as a primary key instead of using something more identifiable like a social security number or an employee ID, so that the sales data wasn't pulling for each one of the Angelas. It was just pulling for the first Angela and rewriting. So dealing with that issue, writing it up, that's what a BA does. And then here are the certs. So International Institute for Business Analysis. I love this website. It has a lot of good information for how BAs can do their work better. I think it's maybe $100 to join every year. And then there's videos and templates. So this is a great website in general to learn about business analysis. And then here's the name of the cert. You also have PMI. So the project management people were like, hey, these BAs need some certs too. Let's get in this game. So they have a cert as well as IQ BBA. Moving into product owner. I was a product owner for a few years. Basically, product owner is like one level up from a BA. It's not something that you can easily transition to if you haven't been a BA first, but I still wanted to show people so that you can get an idea of what your career progression would be like and what your next cert might be. I actually did get a product owner cert before I applied for the product owner job. So the product owner is the person that decides what goes on the backlog. So remember the previous example of that employee, a product owner would say, okay, I already see what reports they have. I want to have a new call tracking report. So instead of that report coming out every day at 8 a.m., I want to be able to track their numbers every 2 hours, right? So as a product owner, I'm going to write these requirements. This was my old report, but I got one today. I want a new report that has fresh data. It tracks it every 2 hours. And then I want it to be colored. So I want it to be green if this person has been on the phone for a while. I want it to be red if, say, this person took less than 2 calls, and then have the red show at the very top so that I could go see, okay, which employee needs coaching? The one with the red at the top. So the product owner is the one that's deciding, what are we going to do next? What do we need next? What's going to get us further? And then we have the PO certs. So there's scrum.org, Scrum Alliance, and then there's Scaled Agile Framework. This is the cert that I have for product owner. I also like Scaled Agile Framework because they have a very detailed website. So if I know I'm going to a client meeting and I need to explain a concept to them, I will go to this safe website and I may highlight some things and then say, put in a Teams chat, hey, I know we're going to talk about backlog organization. I just wanted to share this link with you from SAFE. Take a look at it before we meet. And then PMI, of course, they also have a product owner cert. And then next is Scrum Master. Scrum Master is one where you can get this cert, not have any experience as a developer, tester, or BA, and actually get hired, because what the companies are looking for, they just want to know that you understand what it means to be a Scrum Master, that you understand Agile itself, so that they can throw you in to help organize some of these teams. So basically, the teams need a strong personality that's able to say, hey, are you blocked on that? Do you need some help on that? Team, the last sprint we had, you guys had a lot of rollover stories. Maybe we should look at breaking the stories down smaller to make sure that you can finish your work in 2 weeks. So the Scrum Master is going to work within something called like a tool. So the top 2 tools right now are Jira and ADO. ADO stands for Azure DevOps. If you go online and look up both of these tools, there's plenty of free training on YouTube. ADO even lets you create like a login, and they'll give you like a little simulator and you can practice with it. You absolutely need to practice between one of these tools and add this to your resume. You can just say basic understanding of ADO. After you've watched like 4 videos, after you've worked with it, I would say at least 3 times a week for 2 or 3 weeks, go ahead and put basic understanding. Once you get on the job, if you don't have previous experience, you're going to get a junior Scrum Master role anyway. So they're not going to be expecting you to be like perfect in this. They just need somebody to just start. You know what I mean? So the Scrum Master is going to lead the events, review the metrics and outcomes. Generally, they're working with 2 teams at a time. A junior Scrum Master would only have 1 team. And then sometimes they would speak at events. By I mean speak is they're just going to talk about Agile in general. If it's like a Center of Excellence event. So all the Scrum Masters may get together once a month, and then 1 or 2 Scrum Masters would like pick a topic. So here's some of the Scrum certs. I have Scrum Alliance. I have this cert, but these are the top certs that you'll see when you're looking for Scrum Master roles on LinkedIn. And then finally, there's some prereqs. Depending on the organization that's given a cert, they may want you to have job experience. Some of them do, some of them don't. You have to go to each website and take a look. And then finally, fees. So sometimes there's an application fee. So just to apply is 1 fee. Once you apply, they'll say, okay, we agree with this application. We don't have any questions. So generally the application fee is for those organizations that want you to have previous work experience and you put your work experience there. Then they'll say, okay, we looked at your stuff. Here's the link to take a course. Then there's a course. The course on average, $2 to $3 grand. The courses are generally virtual. It's about 6 weeks. There's 1 teacher. The courses I took, we had no more than 10 people in each class. After you take the course, then you study. You probably got to buy some books. The books, couple hundred. Then there's the exam fee. The first time you take the test, it's a flat fee. If you fail, and I have actually failed, I've taken a few certs twice, you got to pay the full fee again, or some of them are nice and they'll do like a retake fee that's like a couple $100 less. And then there's a renewal fee. So it's generally annual, biannual to keep your cert up. Yes, it's a lot of money. Yes, it sounds like a money grab. But do you need these certs? Absolutely. Absolutely. Make sure to write out all the fees though, and read every single email that they send you. And then finally, some study tips. So in addition to the course itself should recommend books for you. Buy the books, study the books. Don't think that you can rush through the course and go sit and take the exam. The exams they remind me of college level exams where they purposely try to trick you with the wording. So you have to make sure you look at the wording. Make sure you look at the wording. And then for that project management one, there was actually a lot of math and equations in it. So I actually had to get a book, and the whole book was just dealing with the math and equations. And that's what helped me pass the second time that I took the PMI PMP cert. There's organizations online that have practice exams, but like Whiz Labs and Quizlet, sometimes the answers were wrong. And I'm like, that just seems so shady. Like, how are you advertising this free practice exam, but you don't even have the right answers? So the practice exams are out there, but I'm giving you a little caveat, and absolutely create your own index cards. I use index cards for every single cert just to memorize all of the vocabulary. There's so much vocabulary. Know your definitions, tables, processes, backwards and forwards. So like for a project management cert, or for one of the SAFE certs, scaled agile framework, they'll show you like this huge diagram. Not only do you have to memorize the diagram, you need to memorize each section, because the certification questions will be something like, if the first process is ABC, what's the second process? So if you just memorize the one diagram, you may not remember what that second little process was that was on the left in the upper corner. So not only do you look at the whole diagram, you want to memorize each section and what comes first. When you go to the SAFE website, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And then finally, beware of the internet access, the internet answers. They may or may not be right. Focus on taking practice courses from that governing organization itself. All right, so now that we've reached the end, here are some ways that you can work with me. I offer a free 20-minute discovery call where basically you tell me your background, you tell me like what your interests are, and I just make suggestions. If you already have a LinkedIn profile, we can bring in the LinkedIn profile and I'll give you tips on what to change, what to add. I also do group coaching. I'm working on a workbook, Agile Basics. Hopefully that'll be out soon. I'm also doing a user story writing webinar. And then of course, my meetup classes are like my most basic introductory level courses. And then it kind of steps up from there. And here's my website. I have articles on my website. I have my offerings for the month. They change depending on what my availability is. And then finally, here's my thank you slide. If you gained any knowledge from today's presentation, please support my small business with a donation. Here's how I'm accepting donations, and then my email address and my website. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you again in another class and work with you and help you on your Agile journey. Thank you, friends.